In a world where trivia games are played on a podcast, one man reigns supreme and chooses the movie, while the loser must face his punishment episode.
Oh God! Oh Jesus Christ!
This is Punishment Spoilers.
Hello and welcome. I am your host, Stevie, and today is my punishment episode for 2002's Pinocchio. Now, Brett picked this. Give yourself a round of applause, Brett.
Yay!
Now,
the best.
this wasn't a win for, the Oscars. They got to pick this, or this was a stupid bet that I made saying that my dog's Instagram page would get more followers than Brett's by the end of the year. And I never made one for my dog. It literally got to June. I think I made this bet in January, Brett?
Yeah, pretty early. Yeah,
I made this real early on. And it got to be June. And this was already in the throes of my wife being pregnant and got a puppy and still getting used to my house. And I was like, no, I'll just let Brett have this. So that's what happened.
You could have just transformed
the
the Spoilers podcast Instagram page into your dog page.
into my dog page.
Taking on the followers.
Just let it grow.
Still wouldn't have had as many as Brett's dog, though.
No, not even close.
What is Dozer at now? 10K?
Spoilers has way more. I had about 1,000. I stopped IGing. I stopped doing that stuff, and probably right around June. It's he's got 0. I don't need to do that much. I just don't like Instagram that much.
It's not very lit of you, Brett.
What an intense competition overall. Whew. Roller
Good
coaster.
job, Dozer. You're the best. He doesn't care.
Rest in peace, boy.
Whoa. He's not dead.
Are we still alive?
Yeah, he's 3. Whoa.
It wasn't an
Rest in
Instagram
peace,
and
boy.
memorandum.
What? This dog's going to live forever, and then I'm going to have him stuffed.
That just reminded me of Pineapple Express and Danny McBride so much right now. Let's go on the table from Isis to Weesis. And this movie had no strings and also no songs, and it drove me nuts. Because animated Pinocchio, Disney classic, brings the house down a couple of times, those velvety pipes. So let's go around the table, and I want to hear what your camaraderie song is, whether you're at a bar at 2 in the morning, and everybody knows the words, or you're at a ball game, or just with a bunch of friends.
This is Brett recording from Fort Wayne.
One where you're going to know the words.
So we used to hang out at Josh's dugout every Monday night for a year and a half. It was really fun. We played card games and stuff. And we used to sing the Cheers song, where everybody knows your name. We'd sing it really loud, and then at the very end, Josh's best friend Drew never came. So we'd say, sometimes you want to go, what was that? And at the very end, it'd be except for Drew. And then that's kind of how that was. We also used to sing We Are Young by Fun, but that's just because it was on the radio all the time. But yeah, Cheers theme.
That was lit, Brett, for sure.
Josh?
Oh, man. When you said this, my mind went to karaoke, and for some reason... I will never be able to do karaoke in my entire life.
You've never done it?
No, it feels like jumping off a cliff.
It's a thrill.
But, I think, Brett, do you remember one time in college when our friend Tim did, what was it, Let It Be? No, it was Hey Jude. I think he did Hey Jude in a pretty crowded bar, and it was pretty fun.
No. I didn't go to the bar, so there's way too long of a walk.
I almost said something mean that would have had to have been edited, but Brett, we always appreciated you picking us up at the end of the night.
Yeah.
You're fun. A good boy.
Yeah. R.I.P.
My turn?
Yeah, Pap.
This is Pappy. I haven't seen the movie. Stevie, first of all, thanks for hosting tonight. This was
Of
supposed to be
course.
Fast and Furious 7 night, but we pivoted to the long-awaited Pinocchio punishment movie episode. I
Long awaited.
camaraderie song. Good question. I don't think I've ever told the story before. I was an intern for a company in Columbus, Indiana, and they put 4 of us dudes up together in an apartment for a summer. And it was me, Declan, some guy I can't remember his name, maybe Joe, and this guy named Leo. And Leo was a fucking weird dude, man. Like, Leo was like very intense. Like, he was like very intense at work. He was like in everybody's business. Like, he was like an intern at this place, and he was like trying to become the CEO. Basically, he was very like strange. But like, there was this bar that we would all go to that did karaoke, and Leo would like jam out to like Matchbox 20.
Jams.
He didn't know the words to any of them. And it's like, this was just like his time to like cut loose. So like Leo, this like weird, super corporate obsessed guy, would just thrash about on stage and like scream and like jump around. It was like the most embarrassing thing you've ever seen. So in the last weekend of the internship, I said, Leo, I'll sing a song with you. You pick it. And he picked Friends in Low Places, I think, by Garth Brooks. And we brought the fucking house down together, singing a duet, Arm Around Me, and this like fucking crazy weirdo dude who nobody in the office liked. But so I guess that would be it.
Friend of the pod.
Please subscribe.
I feel bad for the guy. You don't remember his name.
I think it was Joe, but he was really quiet, and he smoked a lot of weed, so that might be why I don't remember his name.
My
But
God, dude. Was this at Cummings in Columbus? Are there any other companies there?
I didn't name any company names.
This Leo sounds a lot like the Leo in this movie we're about to cover. Was he trying
Leonardo.
to steal lollipops and stuff?
Again, I have not seen this movie.
Me neither.
All right, this is Corey, Kylo Ren memes, Simi Valley, California. I don't really have a good answer to this. It's not really my kind of thing. But many years ago, when I used to party with my friends, you know, when I was like 20 or whatever, I remember the song that we would all get together and sing when it came on our little, like, you know, iPod playlist was Kill You by Eminem. So that was one we would kind of all sing / rap
Is
together.
that You Don't Want to Be Shady? That one?
Yeah, that's the one.
Good shady. Will kill you.
The definition of camaraderie, kill you.
Yeah.
You know, it was a fun time.
Oh, I wish I had a story as funny as Pappy's. I honestly don't. I will say this though. My sister went to St. Mary's at Notre Dame. That's where she went and graduated from. And I remember being in South Bend with her after like a Notre Dame win. And for some odd reason, it's not the same now, but there was this hole in the wall bar called Finney's. And it looked like the place just had like 2 inches of pee that had flooded in the place. And nothing was clean. And you could just smell probably mold in the walls. But it's where all like the Notre Dame students went. So I went there and it was actually fun. And I remember Mr. Brightside came on.
Jam.
And yeah, that is like an anthem, like wherever you are. But I remember laughing really hard because about 1 in every 10 people knew the words until Opened Up My Eager Eyes would come on. And so watching just so many people mumble through words for a minute straight and then knowing 10 words after that, I always found that to be hilarious.
Next holiday season, Miramax Films invites you to unlock the doors of your imagination and enter a world where wishes can come true, where fantasies become adventures, and one of the most beloved childhood heroes of all comes to life. Two-time Academy Award winner Roberto Benigni is Pinocchio.
Corey, you saw this movie, right?
Unfortunately, I also watched this movie the listeners know, this is a punishment movie, so not all the podcasters here have actually watched this, but some of us elected to, and Stevie, you were required to, right?
I was required to. My God. Does this movie not tell you how much of a classic and how good of an actor Martin Short truly is? Like, I feel like this movie should have sent people back in time being like, you know what, Martin Short wasn't that bad. And Clifford was pretty good.
Yeah, so I guess the comparison that Stevie's making here is, look, we got Martin Short and Clifford. Well, how old was he, 40?
41, I believe.
Right, so he's a 40-year-old man playing a 10-year-old kid. And then we kind of got the same thing in this movie with a 49-year-old, I think he was, at the time of filming. What's his name again, Brett?
Roberto Benigni.
Roberto Benigni, an Oscar winner at this point, playing a puppet, but a child puppet.
I haven't even finished you yet, and you're already talking back to your papa. Now, you listen to me, you little rascal. You just keep that mouth shut for a while.
All right, Papa. I'll keep my mouth shut. I will keep my mouth shut. I will keep my mouth shut.
I mean, Martin Short really is just... I have so much more respect for him now, like he did wonders with Clifford. He did what Roberto just could not seem to do here.
It's
right?
almost like Martin Short was acting. It's an insane thought, but yeah, like watching this movie and having to hear him say that he's a boy over and over again, and all I want to be is a boy. It's like, dude, you're a 49-year-old man, and I understand you're playing a puppet, and that's great. But, like, you got no strings on you, and you just look like a man in child's clothing.
Yeah, it's not working, dude. And it depends on what version you're watching, but the version I watched was dubbed, so I was hearing Breckenmeyer.
I watched the bad version, too.
Okay.
Josh, what about you?
Well, I started to think, man, this poor actor is getting put through the ringer. No one could do this. And then I realized he directed it, too.
He directed it.
Roberto Benigni. They filmed this in Italy, and it had to been just so awkward on set. He just goes off for a minute. Okay, so again, for the listeners at home, I think me, Corey, and then Stevie had to watch this. Brett, Pap, he just flails about on screen, repeating lines, and it's called this is a drama comedy, but
a dramedy, if you will.
I wasn't getting hints of neither one of those, man.
And you guys watched a dubbed version of it?
Yeah, the dubbed one is the third worst reviewed movie on Rotten Tomatoes of the 2000s. It's got
it literally has a 0%.
Right. Corey, I didn't mean to cut. I cut you off earlier. I meant to come back to you. I'm sorry.
No, but you're right. 0% on Rotten Tomatoes. I mean, not very well-beloved film, although I understand it was Benigni's passion project.
Yeah.
What an asshole.
Yeah. What were you saying before the pod? Do you hope bad things happen to him?
When I say that, I mean this in a very light sense. I hope when he woke up after the last day of shoot, he may have been walking around in the dark and broken his big toe on a table. That's what I mean. I don't mean actual harm, but just
a small broken bone.
Just a small broken bone, because what he gave the world cannot be undone. This is so horrifying to watch. The puppets that had strings in this movie, I was that's actually kind of a cool effect. I was I kind of dig where it's going with that. And it looked really cool too when the Stromboli character opened up from behind. You're whoa, this is actually a giant. You thought you're in a theater of people, but it's a giant. And it's I almost want to ask Roberto Benigni, you put strings on these people, and, you obviously call them puppets. Why not put strings on you? At least for a little bit of this movie.
Yeah.
Because to watch him...
strings?
Never.
Dude, bro got no strings ever. And the worst part is he moves around like he has strings, but not strings that are pedaled by a professional marionette, but they're being used by a 5-year-old child after a long day at the fair. It's horrifying to watch.
He never dons actual strings. And they never do any makeup to him to make him look wooden at all. There's two times where they stretch out his nose with a CGI effect, but then they just push it back in and he's just regular again. I don't understand.
like you don't even hear like the wooden snaps of like at least put like wooden like kind of clanking about or something like to be like, oh, he kind of sounds like wood, I guess. Like that's cool.
Is there like? Did you say is there like a creaking sound? Is he?
No,
None.
He's just a man.
He's just a 50-year-old man moving about like a psychopath in pajamas. Like I can't describe it.
I want to know how big of a bite Corey wants to take out of his bread hat.
I ain't eating that man's hat, all right?
Put a little butter on there. Got a stew going.
Well, I just gotta say, like, you guys are talking about him being a puppet. The stupidest fucking thing is that people on the street recognize him as a puppet.
That's
it's
the
so
worst.
absurd.
They're like, it's that boy, the little puppet. In the back of my head, I'm going, I didn't know his age at the time, but I'm like, that's a 5'10", 47-year-old man.
Don't look at me, little puppet.
But then again, they're also not like, oh, wow, a puppet's walking around. They're just like, we're taking this puppet to jail.
Puppet to jail.
They're always taking him to jail.
It makes me laugh so hard because it's almost like a stand-up comedian's version of how Pinocchio went. It's like it's the way it's shot as insane. So like, what's the bully's name? Is it Egregio or what's his name? When gets hit with the book.
Oh yeah.
No, the fucking kid that like dies.
It's not a kid. Now. It's a 29-year-old man playing a 10-year-old boy again. A lot of Cliffords in this movie. A lot of Cliffords.
There are no children in this movie.
I think I will die now.
Yeah, so like he gets hit in the head with a book, and immediately the only 2 cops in the entire city arrive. They talk like Philadelphia policemen. It's so funny. They're like, what happened here?
Who does this puppet belong to?
Breckin Meyer, God bless him, trying his hardest to voice act through this movie. Pretty much the best part is he's like, yeah, it's my book and it hit him in the head, but I didn't throw it. And before he can say I didn't throw it, the Philadelphia policemen that are making a movie in Italy go, that's it, lock him up, he's good.
I want you to take this boy straight to the hospital. And for you, puppet, you're going right to jail.
It's just incredible. And Pap, do you want to hear the 2 best characters in this movie?
Is it the the cat or whoever it is from the first movie?
It's Honest John and Gideon.
Honest John, yeah.
Hey, did you guys ever watch like Sabrina Teenage Witch growing up, like the old sitcom?
Brittany loved that show, but no, I didn't really watch a lot of it.
I didn't really watch it.
I if you're a fan of that show, I'm sorry, but there was a black cat on there that used to talk.
Salem.
But what they used to do is they would just shoot an actual black cat and do a voiceover. They could have done that in this movie with just a fox and a cat. Like, to dress up grown men to look like a fox and a cat is insane.
How do Eddie Griffin and Cheech Marin come off as them? Does it sound ridiculous or what?
It's about what you think it is, Brett.
Okay. I mean, yeah, I can't. It seems pretty straightforward. It's freaking Eddie Griffin and Cheech Marin.
10 million? All for me? How?
Oh, it's quite simple. Instead of going home, just come along with us. With us? With us!
With you to where?
To a land where all the farmers grow gold. Gold.
No.
Gold. Yeah.
And what's the name of this place?
It's called Nincompoop Land. Poo-poo Land. Poo-poo Land.
I mean, you got Queen Latifah playing a dove.
Like, I just read that, yeah.
It's completely all over the place.
It's so weird to see that, like, dove, like, it's flying overhead, you know, and Pinocchio looks up, and then it's just like this black woman. It's Queen Latifah, like, hey, Pinocchio, your dad's looking for you. Like, what the fuck? I was so, like, taken out of it. It's just such a weird, like, choice for that particular character.
Josh, I think you and I have somewhat of a similar sense of humor. And since you're one of the only people on this pod that watched it, I know you don't have to, guys. I'm just stating a fact. What did you make of when Pinocchio jumped off the rocks to like go save his dad? Did you notice what was so gosh darn funny about that shot?
Did he just kind of like belly flop in?
He belly flops in, but not only that, but the very old men on the beach look out and shrug their shoulders and walk away.
Well, they know he's made of wood, so he'll float.
They literally look out and they just shrug their shoulders and they start awkwardly walking away. Like they don't know if they're supposed to be looking at the camera or not. It's just like Roberto Benigni said, just do this. And they're like, all right, whatever. And they started walking off screen. I laughed very hard at that.
They like think the shot's over and they're just walking away.
Going to craft services.
This movie goes in and out of a lot of different scenes. I feel like just the story itself of Pinocchio is grating because this boy or 49-year-old dude or whatever is always like making the same mistakes kind of over and over. It's like one of those stories, you know? And that movie is kind of like really embraces that part of the story.
Stevie, Pinocchio was our number one Disney animated movie of all time in our rankings. How similar are the stories, or how different are they?
I mean, there's some similar setups, but like how you get there and what goes on in those setups are nowhere close. Like, I mean, I think the closest is probably Pleasure Island. Like, that's probably about as close as it gets.
Pleasure Island, like the porn shop in Elkhart?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought.
That porn shop is named after a place in a Disney movie, which is very strange. But yeah.
Didn't it get burnt, though? I don't know.
Did it get insurance burnt?
Brett is our historian. I don't know.
Brett, did Pleasure Island, the porn shop in Elkhart, get burned down?
Pleasure Island correspondent Brett, what happened?
Pleasure Island porn shop correspondent Brett, did it burn down?
No idea. I don't live there anymore. There's more than one, though. I only know that because I went to someone's house in like South Bend one time, and I was like, "Oh, there's another one." I've never been there, guys. That place is disgusting.
Probably.
Or so you've heard.
I've never been there.
Yeah, so I read.
I've seen Boondock Saints. I know how gross those places are.
You just went there for the articles, guys. It's no big deal.
Never been there. Let's go. Huh? To Pleasure Island?
Let's go.
No, we're not going. We're not going there. Yeah, she said let's go.
What's Pleasure Island like in this movie, Stevie? Because that's one of the best parts of the animated Pinocchio.
Nothing like the animated version.
That's disappointing.
It's more like Dumbo circus-like, if anything.
Like the Tim Burton Dumbo?
Like Tim Burton Dumbo, yeah.
Just while we're on the subject, Stevie and Corey, like, if you were going to tell a story about Pinocchio, what are just like the small things you would focus on to make it a good story?
Maybe putting strings on a puppet.
Honestly, Josh, my first thing after watching this would be to make Pinocchio likable in some way. Pinocchio sucks in this movie. Like, he starts off like the worst, and then he stays that way until all of a sudden he's just not that way anymore.
That's how I felt watching the other one. I have not seen the animated one in 30 years. I don't remember. Is he like that at all? Is he?
So Pap, the animated version is incredibly episodic.
Yeah, and he's got like an innocence to him, right? Where he's not like grating or malicious. He just doesn't understand how the world works, basically. That's where Jiminy
it's
Cricket
more of
comes
like not understanding how he's just very naive in the animated version. And it makes him somewhat likable. And also the characters outside of Coachman are pretty likable as well, even Honest John and Gideon. And in the animated version, it's not incredibly connected. It's very like episode-like. It's almost like it's almost like 6 15-minute episodes. Just that somewhat connect, but not really all that much. And I don't know why the fairy godmother is so involved in this movie. It made no sense.
It's because it's his wife.
His wife, yeah.
Pinocchio's wife?
Oh yeah, Roberto Benigni's wife is the fairy godmother.
Rashki. Not gonna work here anymore.
Hey, that's good.
Did they? I remember. I have vivid memories of the donkey scene as a kid, and just. I mean, that was just like terrifying scene to me. The hee-haw. Is it come off as kind of creepy in this, or is it just like, oh my god, that's so stupid?
They really fucked that up in this movie. Like, I was kind of anticipating that as well. I was like, well, I bet this is going to be cool because it's live action.
They only had $50 million to use.
All right, Pinocchio wakes up, has donkey ears, right? He goes and sees his friend, also has donkey ears and a tail. You're like, okay, they're going to start transforming, right? Cuts away, cuts back. The friend is a full donkey.
Oh.
Can I tell you guys about the friend a little bit? Because that might be my favorite part of the movie.
Leonardo da Vinci?
Topher Grace.
Teased him earlier, but Pappy, he goes around. I think my favorite part of the movie is it's when Pinocchio is like a guard dog for a while, which is actually pretty sad to think about, but Pinocchio's chained in like out in the rain, this dog, and he's coming to steal hens. And he's like, oh, my friend Leonardo. And Leonardo's like, yeah, I got to steal 4 hens and I'll get 2 rides on the rocking horse.
Oh.
And that's his whole motivation. like earlier in the movie, he's like in jail for stealing 28 lollipops.
Yeah. Leonardo's just like the Joker guy. Like, he's just pure chaos, this guy. Nothing makes any sense with him, right? Like, he just wants to take a giant lick of a lollipop and fucking mosey on.
He's like, Murray, call me Joker.
We live in a society.
Honestly, his performance is probably kind of like the best one in the movie because he's so expressive and like, I don't know, like it's funny to see it go with Topher Grace's voice as well. Like there's something like comedic about that to me. I don't know if it's like supposed to be funny the way it is, but it's goofily funny for sure.
It made me laugh too, and I think just the childish things, like this dude is like 28 that's playing him, so like he'd want to be getting like, maybe like some hose and drugs, but instead he's like splitting a lollipop with Pinocchio, like literally taking turns licking it.
Yeah, I was watching that too. They really did that. They really switched off a lollipop like that. Pre-COVID times for sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if you watch this movie on mute, you can tell who's acting better than other people. If you watch this movie on mute, Roberto Benigni is the worst actor alive.
I was going to ask you, he's not good at all.
No.
I like how you rephrased it.
No, like it's
if I hadn't seen Life is Beautiful, I would hate this man.
I haven't seen Life is Beautiful. Life is Beautiful, and I hate this man. Like, genuinely hate this man. Like, my wife and I got done watching it. I always go look to her and say, "What'd you think?" And she goes, it's one of my favorite reviews she ever gave me. She goes, "I can't make heads or tails of it, but that's the dumbest shit I've ever seen."
There we go.
This ain't it, Chief.
It's like watching Roberto Benigni. Like, it's almost like they didn't have the budget to make him look wooden, so he had to make himself look wooden by himself. But in himself, trying to make himself look wooden, it comes across like he always looks surprised. Did you get that, Josh?
I just want to go back and talk about how the piece of wood falls off the cart at the beginning. Stevie,
I read about that. It rolls down the hill or something. It rolls through the village, doesn't it?
Is
It
that
destroys
in
an entire metropolitan area, Brett.
and Gestapo like grabs it really quick before
Geppetto?
anyone is. Yeah.
The Gestapo got him?
Oh man.
Gestapo.
Chuck the Gestapo. No, okay, yeah. Geppetto just grabs it and he's like, "Oh, a log.
A piece
I like
of wood.
this. I'll make it my son." And then it's just like full blown Martin Short going nuts, bouncing off the wall for the next 100 minutes.
Yeah, like he's immediately hopping around. He was like throwing things off the shelves. He's like knocking over tables, like kicking in windows just for like no reason. And it's like, what the fuck is this asshole doing? Like, you don't like to see it. I don't know if it's supposed to be like charming or maybe like a kid's supposed to see it. Like, look, this guy's fun. Like, no, no one likes this.
Is that the scene that was shared with us today?
Yes.
Where he's like, "Babo." Okay, I gotta know. In the dubbed version, is he saying Babo?
Papa.
No? Oh, man. I'm not interested. If he's not saying Babo, it's not for me.
Babo Booey.
And the thing is, Jimmy the Cricket comes in there, and he tries to murder him multiple times. Like, for real, smash him with a hammer.
Wait, you said Jimmy the Cricket like he's a mafioso.
Jimmy.
Jimmy the Cricket came over with a baseball bat.
They are Italian, Brad.
Don't mess with Jimmy the Cricket.
He takes out this huge mallet and tries to
Brad, that's
squash.
the funniest shit you've ever said. Jimmy the Cricket. I love that. Josh, it's Jiminy.
I said Jiminy. I know it's Jiminy.
You call him Jimmy the Cricket.
Yo, someone got to shut this guy up. Get Jimmy the Cricket on the phone. Break some fingers, some kneecaps.
Fair enough. I hope I did say it. It's great. Doing great with the names tonight. I called Roberto Benigni or something like that earlier in the pod. I'm just on a roll.
Back to back, Gestapo and Jimmy the Cricket. Classic.
He calls him Jimmy the Cricket. Keep going, Josh.
Yeah, sorry, man.
No, a Jiminy Cricket is nearly murdered. Like, it would have been almost like Pan's Labyrinth style, like one of those fairies getting just drilled.
So hungry I could eat the whole house. Ooh, I wonder if there's a cookie jar anywhere.
Pinocchio.
Who's there?
I'm Cricket, lover of wisdom, seeker of truth, well-dressed insect about town.
No. A talking cricket? Cricket, tell me where he hides the cookies. I'm starving.
Perhaps you should have thought of that before you ran away. Next time, use that wooden head of yours. Hunger is the least of the troubles that befall naughty children.
You talking to me?
That's John Cleese, by the way, the cricket.
Corey, can you do a John Cleese impression?
I don't think I can. Why can't I think of any movies he's in?
Rat Race.
Time Bandits.
Ooh.
These aren't exactly 90s movies, guys. Come on.
Oh, Rat Race is technically a 90s movie.
Is it?
It's made in 2000, but it's technically a 90s movie.
No, but I agree with you, Josh. He's like, the relationship between the cricket, he's just called Cricket in this, and Pinocchio, like, it's never like any, there seems to never be any friendship, even when Pinocchio is reformed. Like, Pinocchio just wants to kill him, or he's completely ignoring him, or he's telling him to fuck off. And even at the end, when the cricket's like, all right, I guess our work here is done. And he's like, all right, get out of here. Like, he wants nothing to do with him. He's just like, all right.
Now, I want to know, is that common in the book? Because the one I watched in 2019, he, like, hates the cricket, and he, like, throws stuff at him, and, like, the cricket is in, like, 3 scenes. By the way, the cricket looks exactly like the little Satan baby in Passion of the Christ, so if you want to get that visual.
It probably is a book thing, Brett, but, like, really it doesn't, I mean, doing what the book does doesn't always make a good movie, does it?
No.
I mean, we've seen the TV version of The Shining.
The Shining?
Exactly.
It?
The Shining?
Pet Cemetery.
There you go, Pet Cemetery.
I'm really confused though. So like, is Roberto Benigni the only one in Italian? Because you're naming like American actors, or I guess English actors.
So he's dubbed by his name Breckin Meyer.
Breckin Meyer, who's just way younger. You know Breckin Meyer, Pappy? Road Trip.
Clueless. Roadhouse. Rat Race.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely not in Roadhouse.
No, I know, yeah.
I think he was on a lawyer show with one of the
he
Saved
was,
by the Bell
Franklin
guys.
Bash with Mark Paul Gosselaar.
You won't recognize a person in this movie, Pat.
Yeah, they're dubbed with, like, I think Miramax, like, made
it is Miramax.
Yeah, they got, like, the American cast. They got some pretty big names.
Yeah,
I mean,
big names. Like, it's crazy.
Eric Idle, Kevin James, Cheech Marin, Eddie
Glenn
Griffin,
Close.
Topher Grace, Regis Philbin.
Yep.
Regis.
Jim Belushi.
Domer.
So this is a Harvey Weinstein joint, though.
Oh man.
I believe he thanked Harvey Weinstein when he won his Academy Award, so probably.
This movie, like, this had to be a lost bet, right?
No, I just think he loves the story so much. Look how much joy he has.
But also, like, I don't know. There's something really just off-putting about this movie.
What is the lesson?
Well, see, the lessons are, like, never actually learned. I feel like
Pinocchio was only sad the fairy godmother even died is because she had a giant wagon behind her. I mean, like, and she also gave him a very peculiar look at the end.
In a movie where they just toss a puppet in jail, like, I'm not diving into this, like, look. I don't know. It's all meaningless at that point, Stevie.
This dude is fucking constantly in and out of jail. Like, this dude has done some time. Like,
Well, Italian.
in a matter of one cut scene, he does 4 months in prison.
Yeah, man. And he's supposed to do more, but the king is just, like, having, like, a good drunk day, apparently, and letting all the criminals loose.
Yeah, he releases all the criminals. All right.
Those 2 cops are ticked, man. Like, we're going to be working overtime.
Pap, I know you love the animated version. I mean, do you have any questions about this one? Are you ever going to watch this?
I will maybe someday watch this. Is Monstro in this movie at all? The whale?
Yes, but he's a shark?
He's a shark?
And not a whale?
Shark, yeah.
Oh, the CG shark?
And surprisingly, it has the best shot of the entire movie. Like, I mean, if there's actually one shot, you're like, it's kind of well done. It's probably the one where Geppetto or Gestapo and Pinocchio are looking outside of the shark's mouth.
Such bad editing, though, right? Geppetto's like, I can't swim. What are we going to do? And he's like, come on. And it cuts and they're like on land.
Yeah. It's shortcuts were taken. In this movie is why I think that, like, you have executive and producer interference in films nowadays. Everyone is horrified they're going to make the next Pinocchio, and they're constantly overseeing everything. Because I can't imagine not one producer being on set of this movie for 5 minutes.
It's so bad, it doesn't make... like, I've seen the animated version before, but I have no desire in my heart to ever read or see any, like, Pinocchio-related material after this.
Even the Guillermo del Toro one?
It really...
And Tom Hanks is
I
doing...
hope I'll come around, but, like, dude, the way that the character just makes mistakes after mistakes and, like, the frustrating nature of people taking advantage of them and him just being stupid over and over again, it's really hard to watch.
Yeah.
Plus all the bad production stuff we've been talking about.
Also, when one of the assassins, quote unquote, got set on fire, the fact that Roberto Benigni or Miramax included a Bayou accent threw me for a loop. When they're trying to figure out which way to go in the water, and one of them goes, "I can't swim! I can't swim!"
The cat and the fox, they hang Pinocchio by the neck and kill him. They literally kill him.
Is that the still frame that you sent before we started recording?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, it's like Wizard of Oz.
He gets brought back to life later by magic, but he is confirmed dead.
So I think there's a story in, like, the original written version where he gets chopped up and, like, burned, like, used as, like, burning wood. And part of me kind of wishes that, like, live action Roberto Benigni got chopped up and used as burning wood, and how that would have looked in this movie.
You talk about in real life. You want Roberto Benigni to be chopped up and burned. in real
No,
life.
just break or stub a toe or maybe chip a tooth. I don't know.
You want him to be wood chippered like Fargo.
Yes, something. I think that would have made this movie infinitely better.
Future spoilers.
Stevie, who is the target audience for this movie, if you had to guess?
Roberto Benigni.
Yeah.
Dude, this is a film by Roberto Benigni, starring Roberto Benigni, for Roberto Benigni.
Yes.
This is not a Quadrant 4 movie in the slightest. It's
It's one spot on the
quadrants.
quadrant, one individual dot.
Dude, it has one individual little grid mark of, like, who this would... I mean, if you threw a dart 10 times, you couldn't hit the target audience for, I mean, not once. You'd miss wildly awful, because there's times where you're like, maybe it's for a 3-year-old. And there's times where it's like, maybe it's for a 40-year-old. And there's nothing else in between. It's... The only way I could even picture it is a young 40-year-old grandparent who has the 3-year-old for the day. And neither of them really care what's going on screen.
What about if you were Really drunk.
Really drunk, this movie's hard to watch.
Really drunk or high or something, would it be funny?
No, I mean...
If you were drunk and watching it with friends, you'd all start to get mad at each other that you were letting each other, like, watch this.
Yeah, there wouldn't be that kind of, like, camaraderie.
You don't think you'd be laughing at how bad it is?
No, this isn't like The Room.
I mean, I don't even think midnight screenings would take this movie because everyone would leave so pissed off.
You'd suddenly turn into Corey's friend group, just saying "I kill you" for fun.
So why does it not cross the line into so bad it's good? Then is it just boring?
It's just bad. It's boring. It looks cheap at times, and also what really, like, typically a bad movie can get through some things where if the things that are bad are worse than the person that's starring in it. Kind of like what Tommy Wiseau did it with, like, Sets, where you're like, what is going on?
Yeah.
This movie's like the opposite, where some of the sets actually look pretty good, but Roberto Benigni says, I'm going to make this so bad, you're going to forget about everything but me.
I'm going to create a movie so toxic.
Like, this is, like, it's cancerous for the, like, knowledge and the brain to watch this.
I mean, just seeing him running around like a dickhead is not a good movie. Like, that does not a good movie make. Do you guys remember that, like, that story back in the day? Like, before Hook was made, it was going to be a completely different movie where Michael Jackson stars as Peter Pan.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been like this, dude. Just like this fucking egomaniac running around. Like,
dang, it would have been
not fun.
Wendy Darling's not
Peppy,
my lover.
You know how Stevie was saying all that stuff about Martin Short being ahead of his time or whatever? Like, think of the bad times Martin Short's like antics don't land.
Like all
That's
the time.
this whole arguably
easy,
but take his bottom 15-25% and spread them out over about an hour and 46 minutes. And it's not like so bad it's good. It's just difficult and awkward.
Like, if anybody tops Roberto Benigni for worst acting performance of all time, I'll be shocked. Like, Tommy Wiseau looks like masterclass compared to this. Like, it's just a difficult movie to get through because one person can take you out of every scene instantly.
And they're in every scene.
And he's in every gosh darn scene.
All right, I think spoilers fans really want to know, Corey, this or Cats?
Ooh.
Come on.
Good question.
Is it?
This, I guess.
What?
Cats is not it, dude. When I think of Cats, I think of that dickhead tap dancing, and I don't like tap dancing, dude. Like,
Scrimble Shakes? The
this movie
cat?
has turned me off to Pinocchio the way that movie turned me off to tap dancing. I haven't seen Pinocchio in ages. Like, I saw the JTT version when I was a kid, and the last time I saw the classic Disney one, I was like, I don't know, 7 or something. And, I kind of liked it, but it's not one I rewatched.
You should.
I tried to rent Pinocchio's Revenge one time, and it was the wrong fucking VHS
The
case.
95 version?
No. Is that when that came out?
I think that was 95 that came out. I remember that.
It was a 90s one, yeah.
Yeah. I think me and my grandpa watched that, shockingly.
How about the erotic adventures of Pinocchio?
I've heard about that.
It's a 1970s classic, apparently.
Brett, did you buy that at Pleasure Island in Elkhart, Indiana?
No, it's a South Bend branch.
I don't know. I've never been there.
Never even heard of it.
I was looking at a video called "It's Awfully Good Movies," and this Pinocchio's on there, which I think is implying that it's good.
Dude, that YouTube show is fucking dope. I love it.
That show?
Yeah. Shout out to Awfully Good Movies on Joe Blow.
Sorry, go ahead. I wanted to know. I've been thinking the whole time. I'm like, I wonder if Corey would rather watch this or Cats, and I think he answered the question. Oh my gosh, I'm looking at some of the people in this movie.
Well, speaking of classic spoilers questions, Stevie, who is the Christ-like character of Roberto Benigni's Pinocchio?
Whoever edited this. No, who's the Christ-like character?
Probably Mouse and Fox, because they kill Pinocchio.
I mean, yeah, the Christ-like characters would be
Gestapo.
Honest John and Gideon for hanging him. And the movie could have ended there. Those are the Christ-like characters, just for saying, we got you guys. Like, it would have, honestly, this movie could be legendary if they knew how bad it was, and they ended it with Honest John and Gideon breaking the fourth wall and winking at the audience, and then just cutting it. That would have been like 15 minutes, and it almost would have been like a joke that knew it went too far at a certain point.
Josh, there's a part in this movie, I want to know if you found this funny. When Pinocchio is like about to get arrested and he's chained up, he runs away from the cops. He runs away to this like field and he gets caught in a bear trap. And then this dude like shows up. I was about to edit that clip and send it to you guys. This dude shows up and he's like, I got you now, and like tosses him over his shoulder and he's like, you're mine now, and like walks off screen. And it's like, wait, what is he doing with this kid?
I'm a very good boy. I was on my way to school.
So you go to school in handcuffs. What a fine school. I think you escaped from prison, you devil. I'm going to leave that trap on your foot. Oh. And I'm going to teach you a lesson you won't soon forget.
It's very rapey.
Yeah, and that's when he turns him into like a gimp slave dog character who lives outside.
Ultimately what he does, is he makes him be his watchdog. It seems like it's going to get a lot weirder than that, though.
I agree. It's very weird to see.
Especially when Pinocchio goes, but how? And the guy goes, bow wow.
Oh. He was like, but how? He's like, but sex.
But sex.
You got to realize, Pappy, 30 seconds before this, they're licking a lollipop in jail back and forth. Like, you can't ignore all the symbolism.
Very metaphorical.
Yeah.
Who is this movie for? That's why I don't understand.
I'm telling you, you can throw 10 darts, not hit that grid. You guys ready for some trivia? Or do you guys have any last things? Actually, you know what? Let's do final thoughts and yes or no's. This time, let's go from Weesis to Esis. Or even if you would recommend for somebody to watch this.
Okay, so we're doing yes or no's?
Yeah.
I don't have much else to say other than this is just not an entertaining movie to watch. And it's a no. It's not good. And I don't think I said this, but it gave me a strong dislike for Benigni's face.
Yeah.
Like, seeing his face, not into it. And again, it's a good thing I've seen Life is Beautiful because I understand that he can be great. He's won an Oscar, whatever, but don't like looking at him. That's it.
2 Oscars.
2 Oscars?
Well, the Life is Beautiful won best foreign language film as well. This one did not.
Well, this is Josh from Goshen. Of course, this movie's a no. It's so bad, it's not good. And Corey, what you just said was so funny. It's going to be hard to top that. Like, Roberto Benigni, I hope to never necessarily have to see that face again. It wouldn't be terrible. But I don't know. Like, I'm glad I watched it to spread the misery around a little bit, at least, Stevie and Corey, and it's fun talking with you guys. And
thank you for watching it. I appreciate it.
It's fun talking to you guys about it, but a little miserable watching poor man's Martin Short.
Yeah, this movie was painful. Like, I love... Like, even if a movie is bad, I still love movies. Like, Geostorm is one of my favorite movies I've watched in the last 10 years. Like, that's how much I love film, because it literally crammed 10 different genres into 100 minutes of awful acting and somehow still worked for me. This movie is none of those things. This movie is creepy. It's hard to watch. Nothing lands. I wouldn't recommend this to my worst enemies. I wouldn't even recommend this to Next Best Picture. On a joke. Like, I would recommend this to no one. Hey now. Coming in hot. So yeah, this movie is just an absolute no. If you're a listener to this podcast, don't even be curious. Just go on with your life. Don't even watch this movie. No, no, no.
I have a question for you and Pappy, though. Like, what triggers in Pinocchio that in the animated or original version of this that makes him, like, be good? Like, what does he find his heart for, like, a good reason? Or, like, what's the triggering point?
So, he's mainly, like, just incredibly naive. And there's a lot of lessons along the way. Like, Jiminy Cricket's the real hero of the animated version. he's the one that like hammers lessons home for him. And mainly when his like dad goes missing, the animated version is when he is still trying to turn things around, but when he gets to Monstro and ends up inside Monstro is like his real turning point of like, okay, now it's time to be good.
And it makes sense too because you have this voice in his head, Jiminy Cricket, the whole time, who's like Stevie said, the protagonist of the movie. So
yeah,
his whole arc is like facilitated by that character.
And he doesn't try to murder Jimmy the Cricket.
Yeah, he's like,
Jimmy
if you don't do this, I'm going to break your knees.
Give him a Sicilian necktie.
Okay.
Before we do trivia, Stevie, I think what you did with Brett was admirable. Does anyone on this podcast have the balls to bet me a punishment episode that I'll beat them in trivia tonight?
Oof. Tim Tebow trivia?
I think that's only fair. Stevie put up an arbitrary bet against Brett. Josh, you've barely done any punishment episodes.
Josh, why do you hate punishment apps? Let's get into that. Josh, what's your deal?
You avoid them like the plague.
You avoid them like the plague. Like the plague.
Like the plague.
I'll do it if you guys.
All right, I'll take that bet, Brett.
That's my bad, Brett. Life got ahead of me.
Oh my God, Michael Moore movies for Brett only, please.
So Brett's in the bet. Josh,
Michael Moore movies only.
I promise I won't give you a Spider or a Spectre movie.
Or a Michael Moore
Wouldn't
movie.
do that to you, Brett.
I can't promise a Michael Moore movie.
Even worse, the libs.
I'm a sensitive man, and you chose 120 Days of Sodom for me.
And you're so much stronger for it today.
You're no longer sensitive.
Look at you.
I'm sensitive.
We cured you.
So it's just me and Brett is the bet?
Yeah, I'm out. I'm not into that.
Why?
All right, just me and Brett.
Josh, why do you like this?
It's like Roberto Benigni's face, man. I'm out.
I'd go, but I don't literally know who Tim Tebow is, other than Brett said. I asked who he was. Brett sent me a message and said he was like a football or baseball player or something.
Both.
He was like a godly Christian, and everyone on his team was a bunch of criminals or something. Right?
Yeah.
So I was like,
They were also really good.
What?
He was like a holy man of his or some shit. I don't know.
said they were murderers and girl beaters.
No, but it feeds in with movies. Kyle, you have actually a really good chance at winning.
No, I don't know who this fucking guy is. Not fair.
He won the Heisman as a virgin, which is just as likely as the Virgin Mary giving birth.
Won the Heisman as a virgin?
Apparently. According to legend.
According to him. Which I actually believe, but...
Okay, you guys ready then? Who's this between?
Me and Brett. Whoever gets the lowest has to do a
All right, you guys are going to rotate.
movie.
Who wants to go first?
We're the only ones playing?
Yep.
Oh.
Love it, Stevie. Put him in a pit
You can
fight.
go first, Brett. You can pick, Brett. I challenged you.
I'll go second, I guess. I don't know.
There's no advantage.
I'll go second, I guess.
Okay, Pappy.
Well, how does this work? How do I win?
I'll tell you. I'm going to ask you questions of higher or lower with movies and Tim Tebow stats.
Oh, boy. Okay.
So, Tim Tebow had 17... This is all NFL stats, no college.
Eesh.
Tim Tebow had 17 career NFL passing touchdowns. Is that more or less than Land Before Time movies?
17? 17? That's more.
You think Tim Tebow has more touchdowns than Land Before Times?
That's what he said. That's what he said.
Question. Yes.
That's what you said. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, that is correct. There have been
Okay.
14 Land Before Time movies
Holy
released.
shit, that's way closer than I thought.
I'm not... Yeah.
Wow. Really riding off the success of that first one.
Stevie was selling that hard. That was tough.
Yeah. There's a lot of Lambo... Those used to come at McDonald's meals. All right? Okay. This one's for Brett. Brett. Tim Tebow has a career passing percentage of 48% in the NFL. The lowest in NFL history, I mind you. Jonathan Taylor Thomas's Pinocchio. I'm going to ask you that. Is Tim Tebow's passing career completion percentage higher or lower than Jonathan Taylor Thomas's Rotten Tomato score by the critics?
Oh, what a great question.
What,
It's the Pinocchio one. What's that?
Oh, yeah, I didn't hear you say Pinocchio.
Yes, Jonathan Taylor Thomas's Pinocchio.
If I miss this, do I lose?
Yes.
No.
Okay.
You just don't get the point.
I will say Tim Tebow's percentage is higher.
That is correct. Jonathan Taylor Thomas's Pinocchio has a steamy 35% on Rotten Tomatoes. All right, Pap, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Nervous.
2011, Tim Tebow started the most games of his career, which was 11. He went 7-4. He had 1,729 passing yards. Is that higher or lower than the initial box office of Tommy Wiseau's The Room?
Dollars?
Yes, in doll hairs.
Lower?
That is correct, Pappy. Tim Tebow had 1729. The box office for The Room was a grand total of 1,900 for its initial run.
Box office smash.
Since it's following cult status, it has attained over 30 million.
Did he say? I thought he said the box office was lower than.
I thought he said Tim Tebow's was lower than the box office. Yeah.
Play the tape.
All right, Brett, you ready for this?
Yep.
Tim Tebow has a grand total of 9 interceptions in his career in the NFL. Is that higher or lower than the Rotten Tomato score of Caddyshack 2?
Oh.
That movie's so bad. Dang. I will say Caddyshack is higher.
Brett is incorrect.
Oh.
Let's go.
Caddyshack 2 has a grand total of 4% on Rotten Tomatoes. Tim Tebow has a career total of 361 passing attempts as a quarterback in the NFL.
Good for him.
Is that higher or lower than episode Spoilers has released?
Lower.
That is correct.
Yeah,
with confidence.
Spoilers, as of right now, this recording, have released 363 episodes.
Nice.
What a great guy. Yeah, some great guys.
Okay, Brett.
This is an insurmountable lead by me at this point, right?
No.
Should Brett just concede? Oh, okay.
Okay, so this is Brett's. Tim Tebow has a grand total of 173 completions in his entire NFL career as a quarterback. Is that higher or lower than Samuel L. Jackson has acting credits?
Oh my gosh. He didn't start acting until late in his career, so I will say he's got less than 173.
That is incorrect, Brett. Samuel Jackson.
Did you mean late in his life?
Yeah, late in his life. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Samuel Jackson has a grand total of 194 acting credits.
Take a freaking vacation, Sam.
Pap, you get this, you win. Actually, I think you already won anyway, but we'll see. Okay. This one's tough. Tim Tebow has a grand total of 16 career starts in the NFL as a starting quarterback. Is that higher or lower than the Rotten Tomato score of the classically panned children's film North?
I'm glad
Kylo laughed at that.
Say it's lower.
That is incorrect, Pappy. North has a whopping 14% on Rotten Tomatoes.
I'm surprised it's not a 0.
So close.
Okay, so what's the score right now?
I got 2 wrong. He's got 1. How many questions are left?
I'm up 1.
Just 1 question left.
Oh,
let's go.
let Pappy answer.
Okay.
All right. Well, I mean, does that mean Pappy wins?
Yeah.
Okay, well, Brett, you're going to answer this
You can
one.
eliminate 2. Spiders, Ghost, or Michael Moore. Tell me which category of movies you don't want.
Eliminate
and I'll pick from the
2.
third.
I don't
Go
want
ahead, Stevie.
spiders or...
Well, think about it. Think about it, Brett. Don't tell me now. Go ahead, Stevie.
Okay, is this for Brett? All right, Brett, this is really going to test your knowledge as a movie connoisseur. Tim Tebow's illustrious career with the Jets had him leaving with a grand total of 39 passing yards in his career as a Jet. Is that higher or lower than James Bond movies have been released?
That is higher.
That is higher. Good job. 24 James Bond movies have officially been released.
Yeah. And then
Cool,
1 unofficial.
cool. Very, very cool. Well, so Pap, you win?
Yes.
So you get to pick the punishment for Brett, is that right?
So Brett, go ahead and eliminate 2 of those categories.
What were the categories
Spiders,
again?
Ghosts, or
I don't want
Michael
I don't
Moore.
want spiders or ghosts.
Michael Moore.
Well, lads, help me out. Bowling for Columbine, Fahrenheit 9/11, Fahrenheit 11/9.
Fahrenheit 9/11.
Bowling for Columbine.
I feel like something more current would really get his goat more.
Probably
Like the
Fahrenheit
mo-
11/9 then.
Don't make me watch that. What? I'd rather watch a ghost. I'd rather watch a ghost movie.
So you're switching to
Well, I'm
Ghost?
just saying, like nobody wants to. We shouldn't do political stuff. So I mean, what do you?
Fahrenheit 11/9 it is.
We've always been political.
Even when you didn't know it.
You could at least give me the one about guns.
Is that? Would you rather do Bowling for
Yes.
Columbine? Okay, Bowling for Columbine then. That's fine.
That's probably
What?
the nicer thing to do. Like,
I had to watch Pinocchio. Give that dude Fahrenheit 11/9 right now.
I respect the competitive nature of Brett to accept my challenge.
Yeah.
It's Bowling for Columbine. It
That
shall
way,
be.
at least it won't be like just like uber political.
And we'll do this in like 6 months. There's no
No
rush.
rush.
There's so many Patreon requests. We'll probably never do this.
That'll be
This is
fun,
a
though.
punishment episode. I don't even know when it's going to get released. Pap, should we? What's coming down the pipeline? If you should even do it.
More Patreon requests. We're gonna do Furious 7. I'm not 100% sure if this will be out before or after Roadhouse, but lots of Patreon requests.
Roadhouse is coming up
also-
soon. I will say that. So Roadhouse has been out for a while. They already heard that. It's a great pod.
Also, there's at least one patron, maybe multiple, who are waiting on your movie requests. Get that in. We wanna do the movie for you. so let us
David,
know,
we
but
mean you.
Yeah, you said it. Lots of Patreon requests coming though, Stevie.
Hey, okay, I'm gonna take this time to say F you to Tim Tebow. Like, you haven't ruined my life enough. I spent an hour studying Tim Tebow when it literally had nothing to do with Tim Tebow. You told us the Tim Tebow stats, and then I lose. He makes me lose again, like usual. And now I gotta watch the turd Michael Moore talk about crap he knows nothing about. F you, Tim Tebow.
We need to get Spoiler Man saying the opinions of Brett do not necessarily reflect those of the Spoilers Podcast and Spoilers Podcast hosts.
Oh my. Well, thank you so much for listening, people. Please don't watch this movie. If you have, I am so sorry. Join the club. It's so bad. If you are listening, though, subscribe to our Patreon. No pressure, but we love hearing it from you guys. If you're not subscribed to our Patreon, at least leave us a review on iTunes. That's always welcome feedback. And please just remember, Brett has never been to the Pleasureland Museum in Elkhart or
Never.
South Bend.
Not once.
Not once has he been there or knows the ongoings of those stores.
he wasn't there last week.
He wasn't there. Just remember, he wasn't there. Thank you for listening. That was Spoilers.
impossible. I'm leaving tonight. And I'm going far, far away.
Where are you going?
To paradise. It's the best place in the world.
And what is it called?
Pleasure Island, like the porn shop in Elkhart?
That was spoilers.